Good morning and welcome to the Daily Download, tech intelligence for leaders who move fast and think ahead. I'm your host, Brad Nelson, and today is April 29th, 2015. Here's what you need to know today. A new study has revealed a major security concern in AI-generated code. Nearly 20% of third-party libraries suggested by large language models don't actually exist. Researchers analyzed over 500,000 code samples from 16 top AI models and discovered that more than 440,000 of the package dependencies were hallucinated, meaning they referenced non-existent libraries. This opens the door to supply chain attacks, where hackers can create malicious packages using these fake names. If developers trust the AI output and install one of these hallucinated libraries, they could unknowingly run dangerous code on their systems, potentially leaking data or introducing backdoors. The issue is especially prominent in open source models and in JavaScript code. Alarmingly, the hallucinations aren't random. Many are repeated consistently, making them easier for attackers to exploit at scale. As AI-generated code becomes more common, this research underscores a critical warning. Trust but verify. Developers must audit AI-suggested code, especially external dependencies, before using it in real-world software. As enterprise software increasingly depends on AI-generated code, hallucinated dependencies could quietly poison your supply chain, unless you're actively watching for them. A new report from Google's threat intelligence group and VulnCheck reveals that while the number of exploited vulnerabilities may be plateauing, attackers are shifting focus and moving faster than ever. In 2024, zero-day exploits actually dropped by 25% compared to the previous year, but the type of targets is what's changing. Attackers are now prioritizing enterprise infrastructure, including firewalls, VPNs, and cloud appliances, over consumer products like browsers and mobile apps. These tools often sit outside traditional monitoring and offer privileged network access, making them high-value targets. Even more concerning, nearly 30% of newly discovered vulnerabilities were exploited within just one day of becoming public in Q1 of 2025. Threat actors are watching vulnerability disclosures closely and weaponizing exploits almost immediately, aided by exploit kits, proof-of-concept code, and even AI tools. While content management systems and Windows remain popular targets, edge devices and other operating systems are catching up fast. Browser and mobile exploits, on the other hand, are on the decline, likely due to better defenses from big tech. Speed now matters as much as volume. The moment a vulnerability becomes public, the clock starts ticking and attackers are sprinting to get there first. Businesses must patch faster and monitor enterprise tools that may be overlooked by traditional security systems. Cyber attacks are getting faster, smarter, and more accessible thanks to AI automation and booming cybercrime marketplace, according to FortiGuard Labs' new 2025 Global Threat Landscape Report. Attackers are now using AI tools like FraudGPT, WormGPT, and deepfake generators to craft convincing phishing campaigns, automate extortion emails, and run cyber attacks at scale with little technical expertise required. These tools are enabling a new class of cybercriminals to launch sophisticated attacks quickly and affordably. Automated vulnerability scanning also reached unprecedented levels, with billions of scans happening every month. That means defenders have even less time to patch systems before they're targeted. Meanwhile, the dark web is thriving, with marketplaces selling everything from malware kits to corporate VPN credentials and RDP access. Sales by initial access brokers, who sell backdoor access into company networks, surged in 2024 with a 42% spike in compromised records shared online. Industries like manufacturing, business services, construction, and retail saw the biggest increase in attacks last year, and U.S. companies faced more ransomware and state-sponsored threats than any other region globally. The takeaway? Traditional defenses aren't enough. Cybersecurity experts now recommend businesses to think like attackers, using red teaming, real-world attack simulations, and aggressive patching strategies to stay ahead of increasingly automated threats. AI is helping criminals act like tech startups, fast, scalable, and ruthless. If your defense strategy is slow or outdated, it won't hold up for long. 3 U.S. senators are calling on the Federal Trade Commission to investigate how brain-computer interface companies are collecting, using, and potentially selling neural data, information pulled directly from users' brains. In a letter to the FTC, Senators Chuck Schumer, Maria Cantwell, and Ed Markey warned that this kind of data, which can reveal emotions, mental health conditions, and cognitive patterns, is deeply personal and currently lacks meaningful privacy protections. While regulated implants like Neuralink must follow HIPAA rules, a growing market of consumer neurotech products like headbands and wellness headsets operate in a gray zone. These devices aren't classified as medical tech, meaning they can collect neural data without clear user consent or oversight. A recent report by the Neural Rights Foundation found that 29 out of 30 neurotech companies have vague or non-existent policies on sharing neural data with third parties. The senators want the FTC to launch an investigation and set new rules for transparency, data protection, and consent, especially as these devices begin to blur the line between health gadgets and medical tools. As neurotechnology goes mainstream, your brain data could be the next frontier in privacy, and right now, there are almost no guardrails. Amazon has officially entered the satellite internet race. On Monday, the company launched its first 27 Kuiper broadband satellites into low Earth orbit aboard a United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket from Cape Canaveral. This marks the first of 80 planned launches to deploy Amazon's full 3,236 satellite constellation, part of a $10 billion push to rival SpaceX's dominant Starlink network. The satellites are now successfully activated and communicating with ground systems, with Amazon expecting to begin offering high-speed, low-latency internet service later this year. Amazon is under pressure to move fast. The FCC requires half the Kuiper constellation to be in orbit by mid-2026. That's a steep climb, especially with Starlink already operating over 7,200 satellites and aiming for tens of thousands more. While Kuiper has strong commercial ambitions, the crowded skies of low Earth orbit are becoming a growing concern for space traffic and spectrum management. Amazon is officially in the space internet game, but with SpaceX miles ahead, it's a high-stakes sprint to connect the planet and avoid orbital gridlock. IBM has announced plans to invest $150 billion in the United States over the next 5 years, with more than $30 billion of that earmarked specifically for mainframe and quantum computing research. The move is part of the company's effort to solidify its leadership in advanced computing and artificial intelligence. CEO Arvind Krishna said the investment reinforces IBM's commitment to U.S. jobs and manufacturing, a stance the company has maintained for over a century. The goal, according to IBM, is to fuel American economic growth while advancing cutting-edge technologies that will shape the next generation of enterprise computing. The announcement aligns with a broader trend among tech giants like Apple and Nvidia, who are also ramping up domestic manufacturing and R&D, much of which began before, but accelerated under recent policy and market shifts. This signals a long-term bet on the U.S. as a global hub for quantum innovation, advanced infrastructure, and enterprise AI, with IBM aiming to stay at the center of it all. Cloud backup provider Backblaze is under scrutiny following a report by short seller Morpheus Research, which accuses the company of sham accounting and insider stock dumping that could threaten its financial stability and, by extension, its customers' data. The report draws heavily from lawsuits filed by two former executives who allege that Backblaze founders pressured staff to approve inaccurate financial statements, inflated forecasts, and pushed through aggressive share sales following its 2021 IPO. The claims, if true, raise concerns not just for investors, but for the small businesses and individuals relying on Backblaze to store critical backups. Backblaze has denied all allegations, calling them baseless and misleading, and insists that independent audits have found no wrongdoing. Despite those assurances, the company reported a $48.5 million loss in Q4 of 2024 and has yet to post a profitable quarter since going public. Shares fell 8.3% following the report, and some tech media outlets are now questioning the long-term viability of the company if financial and legal troubles persist. If a cloud storage provider falters financially, the risk isn't just to shareholders, it's to your backups. For businesses and individuals alike, diversifying your data strategy is more critical than ever. And that brings us to today's tech tip, which is all about protecting your data with the 3-2-1 backup rule. And if you're relying on just one cloud provider like Backblaze, this one's for you. So here's how it works. Keep 3 copies of your data, 1 primary and 2 backups. Store those backups on 2 different types of storage media, like an external hard drive and a cloud service. And make sure that at least one copy is off-site or offline, so you're covered even during an outage or a cyber attack. Cloud providers can fail, files can get corrupted, and your building can burn down. Redundancy is your friend. Follow the 3-2-1 rule and your data stays safe, no matter what. This has been the Daily Download. All sources for today's stories will be in the description below. Today's episode is brought to you by FRCS Tech, your trusted partner for business technology solutions. We help growing businesses stay secure, efficient, and ahead of the curve. To learn more, visit us at frcstech.com. We'll see you tomorrow.